we go. What is going on, Cover One crew? Welcome back to the show. Hope everybody is doing good. Happy Friday to all, as we are getting closer to the Super Bowl, and Super Bowl week next week kicks off on Monday, if I'm not mistaken. Good times. We still got the Senior Bowl to deal with. We're talking players to watch, wide receivers, and this NFL draft class is absolutely loaded with pass-catching talent. I'm telling y'all, there's some really good wideouts that we can discuss. A lot of, really good quality elite trend wide receivers, some that are going to be great secondary pieces, and some that will eventually be top-end caliber talent, man. Let's talk Xavier Legette, McConkey, Anaya Smith, and Jamari Thrash. We could also talk a little Jordan Whittington and Johnny Wilson, but I'll stick to these four in this show and touch on the other guys later on down this off season. Let's start off with Mr. Xavier Legette from South Carolina. Playing with Spencer Rattler, absolutely uplifted this man. I'm a big Spencer Rattler fan. We saw what Rattler was able to do in the Senior Bowl practices, and everyone's going to get, over the top when it comes to lack of productivity in the training sessions. This is a good, teaching aspect for a lot of these guys, where they can understand where they need to improve upon. I think Legette did go out of practice with some kind of ailment. He did finish off in street clothes, but we'll talk about what he does well, man. 6'1", 223, where he was listed 6'3", I believe, on the South Carolina website, but it is, full-on measurement, 6'1", 223. He is beefy, bully type of strong wide receiver that you're looking for. He is that dude, man. 53 games, 113 receptions, 1678 in yards, and 12 receiving touchdowns. The stat line doesn't necessarily promote massive, production over 53 games. But I'm telling you, this past season, he did break out, man. Plays a lot bigger than he is listed. He does feel like he's taking over the games, kind of like that A.J. Brown type of wide receiver coming out of college when A.J. Brown was coming out of Ole Miss. You kind of feel the similar type of, wide receiver, not necessarily talent, but he does have a lot of good talent. Fantastic speed, man. You put the ball in this man's hands, he's definitely going to take off and run with that rock. Very good athletic ability, in my opinion. Good hands. It's not necessarily on the great trend yet, but again, these practices are good to, highlight what these gentlemen need to work out in their game. I don't foresee any mistakes or, drops or whatever, miss routes, not getting off press. This is just, highlighting what these gentlemen got to work on up against greater talent, but I'm telling y'all, good hands for me. I think we could trust Legette's hands quite a bit, man. Contested catches are definitely a plus. He will go up for the ball, and he will likely come down with it, and he's able to at least find open windows for his quarterback, man. He was a good friend to a Spencer Rattler at his time in South Carolina, and a very sound ball tracker, whether it be jump balls over the shoulder. He does track the ball extremely well. I am a big fan of Xavier Legette. I think that he's going to be a good get for a club in the NFL. McConkey, Georgia UGA product, 5'11", 202. Okay. And I mean, everybody's going to talk about the Hunter Renfrow, Wes Welker type of wide receiver. He might be better in the sense that he's faster, and you like that about his game. His route tree is unbelievable. We'll start there. I mean, it's just truly superb. This man can make people on skates the way he cuts in the open field, man. Great speed for this man as well. I'm very curious to see what he's going to run on the 40 at the NFL Combine. He's got playmaking ability for days. Filthy stutter step and double move. He will find ways to get separation off of those moves in the open field. He does it very well. Yes, the statistics don't necessarily say that he is trusted upon. He did deal with some injuries as well, but he is one of these guys that I'm looking for taking a big step. He had a very good Senior Bowl, showcased his talent quite a bit. Great yak ability on the field as well. Once you get the ball in his hands, he is going to try to make plays upfield. Elusive open field as well. He will make people miss with those sharp cuts and then try to, at least accelerate with his wheels, man. Open field awareness is a massive plus for me for a McConkey. He just knows where to place himself inside zones. He understands, situational football. He is very good in that sense and very good soft hands, man. Corrals the ball in. No slapping off the hand. 39 games, 119 receptions, 1687, and 14 touchdowns. I don't believe he ever got over 1,000 yards with UGA, but I mean, that's offensive specific. No kidding about that. I am a big fan of what McConkey can do. He's definitely a player to watch, man. Anaya Smith, Texas A&M, 5'9", 191. A lot of people down on Ainias. He could have came out last year into the NFL draft, but he dealt with some leg injury, if I'm not mistaken, and he decided to come back to A&M for one more year, man. Extremely fluid wide receiver, smooth running ability. Love that about my wide receivers. Gotta have that fluidity in your game for me to take notice instantly before I have to dive into your film that much more, man. Very versatile. Played running back, played wide receiver. He can play outside. He plays the slot. I mean, jet sweeps. This man can do it all. He's going to be almost like that Swiss Army knife type of player that you want to have in your offense. Could this be a hindrance on him because there is no specific role? I don't know. I think that he could absolutely be a slot killer in the NFL if he had to be. So I do like his game quite a bit. Tape speed above average at this point. You did see this past season. It kind of fell off from early on days with A&M where his speed looked a lot better in previous years than it did this past year, but I still think it's above average on the tape speed, man. Corralling hands as well, very soft, no slapping off the hands. He just absolutely takes them in as the passes do come, man. Fantastic body balance comes to with the tape tail where it says, where he's running the football as the running back. He's able to make cuts, moves, even when he absorbs contact. He makes a spin move, hand on the ground, keeps his body going. Very good in that sense, man. He does play strong. He will take contact, surprisingly enough. Like I said, taking some of those carries from the running back spot, I mean, it was very nice to see that he can play a lot stronger than a lot of people believe. Shifty cut moves. Is he like this supremely elusive wide receiver talent? Probably not, but the shifty cut moves are definitely there for me to take notice, and I do like that about his game quite a bit, man. 50 contests, 180 in receptions, 2407, and 19 touchdowns receiving. So I'm telling y'all, Ainias Smith is going to be one of these guys that if he does latch onto the right team, right system, he could absolutely carve out that slot role for himself and be a very good mismatch in the open field for any quarterback and team. I do like Ainias a lot. He's likely at this point a day 3 product, but I do like his game, and I think he's an absolute gem in the making with lots of potential, man. Jamari Thrash, Georgia State and Louisville. What a name, man. Thrash. I might buy this kid's jersey just for the last name. 5'11", 185, 49 contests, 167, 26-10 in yards, 15.6 on the average, and 18 touchdowns. He was an absolute stud with Louisville, the go-to wide receiver. No kidding. You wanted to make a play, you go to Jamari Thrash, and he does make plays. He showcased that route run ability in the Senior Bowl practices. No kidding, man. Stop-start acceleration is absolute pluses for me. This man can absolutely stop on a dime and pick up the accelerators. You love to see that. Effortless speed and takeoff. It's just like he's moving out of a jet, man. It's unbelievable when you see some of these guys and how they run. It's just very good. Fluidity, what I'm talking about, man. Fluid runner for this guy. He is very good. Playmaking ability is definitely there. Where we did see some taper off in certain situations, he can make a lot of plays, man, okay? I don't know if he caught over 1,000 yards. Have to double check that as well. Don't think he did. But, I mean, the playmaking ability when called upon, he can absolutely make house calls, and he can get you on those slants all day long, man. Good stutter step off the line release package is decent, man. Okay, I'm very interested to see how he can round out his game for the NFL, but I do like the stuff he's working with right now. Very good footwork on the release also. With that stutter step, he's got a good, pause step as well to get around the defensive back. I do like that about his game. Hands are definitely above average. Did see some drops in his game off the film, but I mean, I think he's a good talent, very much underutilized, slept on definitely in this process. He could definitely carve out himself a role on a team. Talking this national team, we got a bunch that we could talk about as well. We got Javon Baker and Malachi Corley. We won't touch on those guys today, especially Ricky Purcell. We could talk about him as well. We're talking Jacob Cowing, Brendan Rice, Tez Walker, and Roman Wilson. A lot of people making a lot of chatter on Tez not having a good Senior Bowl and, basically saying that he's not a good quality prospect. I look at him a little bit differently. These guys got to iron out a lot of their inefficiencies, and they will do that as soon as we get into the NFL Combine. Well, let's talk Jacob Cowing, UTEP and Arizona, transferred to Arizona, 5'8", 165 on the smaller side, but he does make up for it with that playmaking ability. Great burst off the line. Stop-start burst is absolutely phenomenal. You get the ball in this man's hands, and he's definitely making plays for you. While he can be an easy tackle in the open field, he is kind of in that, smaller stature wide receiver with explosive abilities, and you do like that. 58 games, 316 receptions, 4,477 yards, and 33 touchdowns. You see what I'm saying? The productivity in this man is off the charts. What he's able to do on the field, he is the great safety blanket for the quarterback. There is no kidding. He will turn upfield and make plays for the team that drafts him, man. Sharp plan cuts. Very decisive, man. This is what helps aid him in juking out these, defensive back, safeties, linebackers. Absolutely phenomenal. Speed route precision on those plan cuts is glorious. You can't say anything bad about it. It's almost as if he's a technician in this sense. Can he round out more improvement out of this? Absolutely. None of these prospects are, firm 100% players yet, but he does have a lot of great tools, man. Shifty, juking, explosive. You can say it any which way you want. This is what you're getting from a Jacob Cowing. Hands are good. I'm not, sold on the fact to say that they're, above average to great. I think they're good. I think, there is room for improvement in every wide receiver, and I think, we'll see how he does against the NFL pros, but I do like his hands. He's able to make plays, and he does it very well. 316 receptions definitely showcases that. Very strong route fakes as well. Comes with the hard plants and the speed route precision. I do like that about Cowing a lot. He is definitely one to watch as we get closer to the NFL draft and finish off the Senior Bowl. Brendan Rice, son of Hall of Famer Jerry Rice, Colorado USC product, man. 6'2", 212, very good body frame in this man as well. Very good speed. That was what I was hoping for, and we want to see he will run away from defensive backs, especially with the build-up speed when he's taking those nines down the field. You will see Brendan Rice do this quite a bit. He is good in this sense. Quick feet, good size, like I'm saying, 6'2", 212. You were hoping he was in the 6'3" range, but it's okay. He still is, one of the taller wide receivers in this Senior Bowl class, and it is good. He is a quality, talented wide receiver. Is he his dad right now, Jerry Rice? No, he's not. But Brendan Rice is definitely one to not sleep on. Hand catcher, no complaints, man. Where you get, body catchers, guys that corral it with their body. Rice is definitely a hand catcher for me, and I think it's, you don't see the corralling and the softness in the catches as well, but at least he's utilizing his hands quite a bit. We did see some dropping problem here at the Senior Bowl. He did iron that out on the third day, so at least, again, improvements out of these men have to be had, and don't take it with a grain of salt, I guess I should say. If they made mistakes, didn't have a quality Senior Bowl, that doesn't mean that they're terrible prospects. It just means they got things they got to work out in their game, especially going up against greater competition. Okay, very good cut steps in I almost said Jerry Rice, in a Brendan Rice. Good cut steps, man. The route tree is, above average to above average, where he does have good cut steps to make, some separation. But I do like the fact that when he's doing the, post routes, the 9 routes, he will run away from the defenders enough to create that separation for himself. Is he a route technician at this point? I'm going to say no, and there is some refinement that can be had in this man. Good, strong arm push-off. So like I'm always saying for these wide receivers, when you talk about an arm push-off, if you fully extend your arm, you're going to be called on the offensive pass interference every single time. It's just that little bend in your elbow. It got to be strong enough without getting a flag, and I think Rice does this extremely well. Playing with Caleb Williams, okay, he had some contests. He didn't have some contests, hence why some people were sleeping on his services, but I think Rice is a very good wide receiver, man. 43 games, 111 receptions, 1821 in yardage, 16.4 on the average, which is nice, and then 21 receiving touchdowns. I'm a big fan of Brendan Rice. He should have lifted his stock up into at least round 3 at this point, if not round 2, late round 2. He is a good quality prospect. Let's talk a little Tez Walker, Kent State and North Carolina. He was taking a lot of heat, man, for the lack of productivity in this Senior Bowl. 6'1", 197. Good size for this man as well. UNC definitely has been turning out some quality wide receivers as of late, and I mean, Walker's one of these guys that I'm a supporter of, but I wanted to see what he could do against greater competition here at the Senior Bowl. Didn't necessarily pan out the way I had envisioned, but there was dropping problems, there was separation problems, he was getting locked up on the press. It was not necessarily his best showing, but again, these are improvements that can be had later on, so I'm definitely not out on a Tez Walker, but his stock definitely took a hit. He could absolutely uplift that with quality gameplay on Saturday in the Senior Bowl, so we'll see where he does. But like I said, good size, he's got the build-up speed, don't really see the burst and quality acceleration. I think that's why also he struggled here at the Senior Bowl Bowl as well. Just didn't have that quick foot burst right off the line. He's got that build-up speed. You got to manufacture ways to get him down the field, and the build-up speed will definitely be there for him. He's got good ball tracking. I'm telling y'all, over the shoulder is very good in that respect. He's got some good quality jump ball ability as well. Do not dislike that about his man. Could it improve? 110%. Like I said, good arm extension when he's receiving the football. Like I was talking about a Brendan Rice, he does this very well also to create that, ladder separation when he's down the field to kind of push off the safety or the defensive back and then at least catch the ball that way. Average route tree definitely needs some improvement in this sense. Very simple route tree from the tape that I witnessed already, and I think he's got to improve upon that. Otherwise, he's just going to be that guy that's going downfield on the 9s, on the 7s, and that's basically it for him. He's got some yak upside when he does get the ball in his hand. He's not elusive per se, but at least if you get him on a good, slant route, he can take it down the field quite a bit. Does not necessarily have breakaway wheels either, but there is enough juice with that long speed to get down the field, man. Hands are average to above average. Like I said, I'll take it down just a little bit to probably average after this Senior Bowl, but the tape does show a lot, man. You got to have a one-off for some of these guys. It was just not a great showing for this man, but he is inexperienced, and we could say a little bit more raw than some of these other wide receivers. Only played in 28 games, 104 receptions, 1744 and 19 touchdowns, so at least he's got a nose for the end zone, was able to be utilized with a Drake May, and that uplifted his support as well. So like I always say, do wide receivers uplift a quarterback, or do quarterbacks uplift wide receivers? In this sense, I think Drake May uplifted a Tez Walker a lot in his time with North Carolina, man. Last one I got is Roman Wilson from the national champion Michigan Wolverines, 5'10", 186. And I'll start off by saying instantly right off the bat, he is something of an enigma for me. I know a lot of people love themselves some Roman Wilson. There's just something about his game that I just can't pinpoint it's turning me off of his game. I don't know what it is. I think he's a good talent. I'm not going to bash the man and say he's not. I think he's got a lot of good potential. Cool story coming out where he was, had to travel by plane to go from Maui to Honolulu, if I'm not mistaken, just to go to school to play at the better football program. So he, very much a hard-working, blue-collar, hard-to-nose type of guy. Okay, we'll talk about what he's good at, man. Great speed. He does have good wheels. I won't be shocked if it's sub 4.4 at the NFL Combine on the 40 time. He's very quick in that respect as well. Very good first step off the line. And I mean, hands again. These guys got some good quality hands. I haven't seen many of these wide receivers at the Senior Bowl body catch quite a bit. They do have active hands and try to catch with the hands first before the body. Very much big ups. Like I was saying about Quentin Johnston last year, where he was a body catcher, which is why I was out on his top end value. Still believe these guys are catching balls with their hands, which is very good. Wins line of scrimmage and gets that separation. This is what you're looking for, man. You want guys to separate, kind of like a lad McConkey. This man can do it as well. He constantly generated separation with route manipulation, and the speed factor does come into play in this respect for a Roman Wilson. Very good. Nice double moves, man. When you see him trying to go down the field, that stutter step pauses that defensive back, and he's able to burn around him with that stop-start speed. So it is good in that respect. Body adjustments extremely well, and we saw it highlighted with the great one-handed catch at the Senior Bowl. It's littered all over his tape. He does, extend and adjust his body to make and contort his body to make these catches made that are more difficult than they need to be. He does win contested catches, surprisingly enough, as well. For a guy who's 5'10", 186, he does that pretty well. 46 games, 107 receptions, 1707, 20 touchdowns. He is a good quality wide receiver, but there's just something about him that is just not pulling me to say I'm all in just yet, but it will iron out later on as we get through the scouting reports. I will dive into much more tape than I have right now. This is just overall the top synopsis that I see on these talented wide receivers. But there you go. That is the Senior Bowl wide receivers, like I did the quarterbacks and the running backs. Here's some catchers of balls that we got to be, aware of. In the game on Saturday, we'll see who does take their game to the other level. I'm looking for Tez to have a massive bounce back from terrible practices that he did have, but there's going to be limited passes coming his way after the practice, you got to believe. So we'll see who does step up and show out. But I mean, it's a very good crop of wide receivers. But nevertheless, as always, don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, jump in those comments, give me your thoughts, and we'll see you next time. I am out.